I don't look in my reflection anymore when I brush my teeth, and I have removed all the mirrors in my house. If you want to know why, stick around and I'll tell you. It started the first day of the week leading up to Halloween. I was brushing my teeth before bed, as one does, and one of my cats knocked a glass off my kitchen table. As I looked in the direction of my kitchen, in the corner of my eye, I thought I saw my reflection smile at me. I looked back at the mirror, but my reflection was normal. It was just me, holding my toothbrush in my right hand, toothpaste foaming around my half-open mouth. I let it go and finished up for the night and went to bed. Next day was uneventful, until it was time to brush my teeth again. A similar thing happened. My cats made some noise and I looked away for a brief moment, and again I thought my reflection smiled at me. This time, however, my reflection wasn't completely restored when I looked back, but the smile lingered for a split second. I took a half step back, my heart pumping faster, my skin getting goose pimples, while a shiver went down my spine, my toothbrush, like the day before, hanging halfway out of my mouth. I took a step to get closer to the mirror, leaning forward as I looked closely at my reflection. I shook my head at what had happened. It's been a lot at work lately, it's probably just stress, I mumbled to myself. I spit out the remaining toothpaste, put the toothbrush back in the glass, and turned off the light. Before going to bed, I filled up my cat's water bowl. As Mr. Sandman was leading me off to dreamland, I thought I heard what sounded like someone softly knocking on glass, which made me come to slightly. I raised my head from the pillow and listened carefully. You know that gut-deep feeling of dread, like a sharp cold blade slices through you? That was my first reaction. After a few moments of not hearing anything else than my cat snoring next to me, I put my head back on the pillow and fell asleep. Day 3. My cats meowed at me as I was about to brush my teeth. They both came to the bathroom with their tails held up, circling my legs. They then walked outside while meowing some more, then came back in again. I put my toothbrush and the open tube of toothpaste on the bathroom sink and followed them to the kitchen where their food bowls are. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to pour up your food tonight. Let me fix that. After pouring up food for my furry friends, I went back into the bathroom, opened the tube of toothpaste and put some on my toothbrush and brushed my teeth. When I was done, I turned the lights off and went to bed. Day 4. It was Thursday, second to the last day of the work week. A few of my colleagues asked me if I wanted to join their after-work activity on Friday. I said sure, since I didn't have any plans for the weekend and hadn't been out in a while. When I got home from work, I sat down by my computer to work on a novel I had thought about for a long time. I had planned it out to be a 3-book story, and I named the main character Theodore. I had trouble focusing on writing, though. Something felt off, and I felt a bit restless. I tried having a glass of milk. It didn't help, so I opened a window to breathe in some fresh air. I could smell the cold, crisp autumn air, filled with the smell of wet leaves and a hint of chestnuts. I heard a crash, and then one of my cats ran out of the bathroom. I saw my glass and toothbrush on the floor. Oh, come on, kitty, I have to be more careful. Day 5. Friday. I must have had a nightmare because, as I woke up in the morning, I felt that the bed sheets and my pillow were a bit damp. I didn't feel too good either, so I checked my temperature just to make sure I hadn't come down with a fever. The coast was clear, but I felt like I needed a shower to see if that would help me perk up a bit. When I arrived at work, one of my co-workers greeted me with a, "Wow, you look like you've seen better days." "Yeah, thanks," I replied. "Rough night?" he asked. "Yeah, I guess. Maybe I had a nightmare last night, but I can't seem to remember anything of it. "You still on for the night though, right?" he wondered with a smile. "You know it. See you at Knock 'em Out at 6:30? Sounds good to me." We bumped fists and walked to our respective offices. That evening, after killing it at the bowling alley, I felt pretty good while we walked to the pub nearby. One of our co-workers had resigned earlier that day. He felt like he was overworked, underpaid, and that he didn't get much appreciation from the management. As his colleagues, or former colleagues I guess, we wanted to make sure that he felt that we appreciated him at least, and that we would miss him. Let's just say that Friday night was a smash hit, because when I got home that night, the floor in my house was very uneven. Had it not been for all the drinks, I'd swear my reflection grinned at me the whole time I brushed my teeth. Day 6, Saturday. I did not want to move a lot during the day. Someone had made some questionable decisions the night before, and I had to pay for them. I laid in bed until 5 in the afternoon, straddling the line between being awake and sleeping, all while my head felt like a drum kit used by a death metal band. My cats were sometimes sleeping next to me and sometimes running around the house while playing with each other. When I finally got out of bed, I filled a jug of water and brought that and a glass with me to the living room and sat down on my couch. I ordered a pizza before binge streaming the Lucifer show. I must have dozed off again, but I woke up to the tunes of Lucifer and Rory singing Bridge Over Troubled Water. In my opinion, one of the best versions out there. My cats had dragged a couple of slices of pizza down from the table onto the floor. Lucky I didn't order with garlic that time, since cats can't eat that. But they did clean the meat and the cheese off the slices though. Rascals, I chuckled. I did my usual routine for the night, and my reflection didn't act up, so I figured that I must have imagined the whole thing, even though strange things had happened pretty much every night thus far. I went to bed and fell asleep in no time. My head turned to the left, my sleepy eyes opened facing the clock radio. I saw it was 2 in the morning. The more conscious I got, the more I realized I couldn't move my arms, and I struggled to breathe. It felt like something heavy was on my chest. As I turned my head forward to face the ceiling, I saw me, or more accurately, my reflection. He had a menacing smile. I tried to scream, but I couldn't. My voice wouldn't leave my throat. He opened his mouth to speak. "Hello, Toshi. I've seen you this whole week, brushing your teeth, blaming the cats for the broken glass, thinking that you might be going crazy, doubting if you really saw your reflection fail to follow your movements. Who are you?" I finally managed to ask him, even though I already knew what he would say. "Well, I'm your reflection, but you already knew that." My heart was beating fast. I felt like it would jump out of my chest at any second. He slowly leaned closer to me, his face now only a few inches from mine. He spoke again. "Do you know why I'm here?" "No," I replied, still trying to break free from his grip. "Why?" "I'm your mirror image. Everything bad about you, I'm the opposite. Everything good about you, I'm the opposite. My world is, it's getting boring. I want a change of pace, see something new, do things I can't where I'm from." What would that be? I was getting more irritated at this point, more so than scared, even though my fear was still very much present. "My world is limited to the rooms where you have a reflection. If you're in a bathroom, that's my world. If you're in a gym, that's my world. And if you're in a dressing room, that's my world. In your world, I wouldn't be bound to just one room. I could walk wherever I want, do whatever I want. No limitations, at least not as many as home. He's strong, but he doesn't seem too smart or tactical. I can use that against him, I thought to myself. He rose a bit, leaving more space between us while still holding my arms in a firm grip. I strive to always tell the truth, my mind racing while trying to come up with a plan. You're my equal, but you're also my opposite, I said to him. I mostly live a calm life, so what would be the opposite of that, I asked him. With a sinister smirk, he leaned in again and spoke in my ear. Wreaking havoc. He sat up. Nothing in your world can hurt me, so the possibilities are endless. What about mirrors? I asked him. Especially not mirrors, he grinned. Somehow, I had to get him back through the bathroom mirror. Anyway, it's time for you to leave, he said. He let go of my hands, and I was on my way to try to attack him. He punched me hard in the chest, making me lose my breath. He followed up with a swift punch to my head, rendering me disoriented. I fell back onto my bed again, barely conscious. He stood up, grabbed me by my leg, and started dragging me out of bed and towards the bathroom. He was going to push me through the mirror, leaving me in his world while he would live in mine. I had to do something, but my body wouldn't listen to my commands. My arms and legs were limp. Come on, I thought. As we crossed the threshold to the bathroom, I was able to move a bit more. I was almost in full control of my body as he lifted me up to a standing position. I feigned weakness, relaxing a bit in my muscles so he'd think I was still dizzy from the blow to my head. He had to lift me up over the bathroom sink to be able to push me through the mirror. As he moved me into position between him and my prison-to-be, I grabbed my ceramic soap dispenser and in one swift motion, I turned around and slammed it in his face, breaking the dispenser in the process. The liquid soap got in his eyes, and one of the shards from the dispenser had cut his face, enough for him to bleed. He could get hurt. I had no time to lose. As he tried to get the soap out of his eyes, I used both my hands, grabbed the back of his head, and slammed his face as hard as I could down on the sink. He grunted in pain as I slammed his head down again. I wasn't nearly as strong as him, but I was the better strategist and fighter. While he was disoriented, I kept hitting him with all my strength, ramming him into different hard surfaces in the bathroom. He finally fell over. I tried to lift him, but the only way I was able to was to lay him over my shoulder. I struggled, but managed to get him onto the bathroom sink. The mirror was 3 by 3 feet in size, so it would be fairly easy to fit him. As I pushed him, he fell backwards through the mirror. Now what? I thought to myself. If I leave the mirror in one piece, he'll just come back through when he wakes up. Think, I grunted. A cast iron pan. I ran to the kitchen and grabbed the one I had on the stove. As I came back to the bathroom, I saw my reflection standing up, grinning at me as I stood there panting. He rushed towards the mirror as I raised the pan like a tennis racket, and with a scream I threw it. Just as his hand grabbed the edges of the mirror, the pan met the surface of it. The sound of glass breaking echoed through the house. Still breathing heavily, I began to calm down. Slowly, I walked closer to the sink. I looked down at the broken shards that was once a single piece of reflective glass. I couldn't see him anymore. I rested my arms on the edge of the sink as I took a half step back and leaned forward, resting my head on my arms. A hand grabbed me. My heart skipped a beat. I raised my head, meeting his eyes in the cracked mirror. Parts of his face was in one piece, other parts in another. He glared at me with pure malice and hatred in his eyes, his grip firmer than ever. Without hesitation, I grabbed one of the shards and rammed it into his wrist, again and again, until he let go. I then grabbed the pan again, grinding the shards to everything but dust. Exhausted, I collapsed on the floor. At least he couldn't get through now. After a while, my cats came hesitantly towards me. I reached out my hand, letting them smell me before I started petting them. I carry the trauma with me, and I now avoid mirrors. I had all the mirrors removed from my home. From time to time, I visit my favorite pub, and as I sit on a stool by the bar, I can see my reflection, staring at me with a grin. Thank you for listening to this podcast, a part of Tomasron Tells Tales. Come back again to find more stories narrated by me with occasional assistance from Jasper. Please visit tomasron.com for more information.